Hi, everyone. It's me, Krylios, Team Racing Productions MC and producer. And we have a special guest here with us today, and I want him to come on and introduce himself to our viewers. Welcome, KHALID.
Hi, my name is Councilman KHALID. I am currently a city councilman on Old National Highway in the city of South Fulton. We are Atlanta's new twin city and the blackest city in America. And I am now running for mayor of this city.
Okay, before I even get into the questions, let's talk a little bit about that. So, Fulton City is Atlanta's twin city. That's a thing.
Yes.
I see. I see.
The city of if you think of, for those hip hop heads, hip hop lovers, if you think of the SWAT, so that's Southwest Atlanta, that's what it was affectionately referred to. And if I can even share my screen, I'll actually show you like a whole map.
I'm sure I can give you that. Go ahead.
Okay. So I love political education. That is my thing. Here we go. So if you see this map of Atlanta here, Atlanta is in Fulton County. The southwest corner of Fulton County, affectionately referred to in hip hop as the SWATs, used to just be an unincorporated part of the county. We decided in 2017 to form our own city, and the places in color that you see are the city of South Fulton. So we are the same size as Atlanta. We have a weird shape, got a couple of little cutout. It's like a whole gerrymander thing going on. But we're about the same size as Atlanta, but we have a 92% African-American population. And a lot of the places, a lot of the people that you think about being associated with Atlanta, from Outkast to Candy from the Real Housewives to Representative John Lewis, God rest his soul, all live or lived in the city of South Fulton. And so we basically became our own city. At the time, in 2015, I was an organizer and I was doing political education for the movement for Black Lives. And I said, oh, the SWATs is about to become a city. I didn't know it was going to be the blackest city in America, but I knew that it was going to be hella black. Because I grew up here, right? And I was born and raised in this area. And I was like, there's nothing but Black people out there. And so I said to my comrades in the movement, at that point in 2015, 2016, we were just beginning to put together this comprehensive policy. We had moved beyond police reform to talk about, housing justice and economic inequality and gender discrimination, all of these things, immigrant justice, all of these things that communities of color were experiencing. And we were putting together this comprehensive platform. And I said, there is no better place to put this platform in action than in this new city, because it's going to be very Black. So this is our constituency, and these are the people who would be most affected. At that time, some people in the movement were like, we don't know how much we believe in electoral politics. It's a young movement, and obviously a lot of us, Generation X, millennials and younger, have been disappointed by politicians, so we don't really know how much faith we want to put in that process. But I said to them, every time that we protest, most of the protests that we have done, we are protesting an elected official. I remember 5 years ago, last month, sitting in then Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed's office, protesting the Red Dog unit and this like over aggressive policing that was happening. And I said, let's stop just protesting people. Let's go take their seats, and let's stop asking them to put these policies that we are developing in place. As policymakers, like we can just put them in place. And so that is what I did. I ran for city council. We did a lot of progressive things here in our first 4 years, but there were a lot of even more progressive things that we could have done had we had a different mayor and different leadership at the top. So that's why I'm running
So that's why you're running for mayor of South Fulton. Okay. And this year, why this year? You feel like this is your time now to finally get that?
It was, honestly, I didn't want to be mayor. I'm going to tell you some of the things that we did. We made Election Day a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor vetoed it, and then we overrode the veto. We made Juneteenth a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor tried to undermine the holiday, and then some of the mayor's colleagues on council tried to defund the holiday. Now, this was before Joe Biden and the federal government made it a national holiday.
Yeah.
So we were one of the first states in the country to make Election Day a holiday. We were one of the first people in the state of Georgia to make Juneteenth a holiday. We decriminalized marijuana for less than an ounce. We also made it so that it's a civil penalty and not something that you'd actually even have to put on a job application as a criminal arrest, right? So we were doing all of these progressive things. We wanted to do more progressive things like move money from policing to parks. One of the things that I ran on as a councilman and that I'm running on as a mayor is that we've got to invest in our young people before they get into trouble. In our city and in every city around the country, police make up 25 to 30% of a city's budget, right? So 25 to 30 cents on every dollar is spent on policing. In our city, less than 1% is spent on economic development. 25% on policing, 1% on economic development. And so we're not going to be able to police our way to prosperity. And we can't, if all we're doing is investing in policing, then we're actually, we at a city level, even in these Black run or Black led cities, are becoming the chief feeder for the school to prison pipeline. Mm-hmm. And so trying to get that money into programs for land ownership, economic development, entrepreneurship, young people's diversion programs, and just investing in our youth before they get into trouble. I was blocked at almost every turn by the mayor who makes the city's agenda, who runs the council meetings, who has a huge influence over our city's budget. And so for that reason, I said, I've done everything that I can do at this level. Had we had a different mayor or just even a more hands-off mayor, our council was progressive enough that I would have just continued being a councilman and writing policies at the council level. But there's just these kinds of conversations you can only have as the mayor,
So you believe that these things, can be better well served if you're mayor. So that does make sense. Well, tell me, if elected, what would be the top things that you would go after first if elected, your top issues?
So the first thing would actually be to open up the political process. Our mayor and our mayor alone, every city is different, right? Our mayor in our model makes the agenda for every meeting. So the mayor decides what we talk about. I want to change what we are talking about. If we are having this conversation about public safety, we know that a lot of these police, and I want you to consider this, in 2020, a lot of us were in the streets. I've been in the streets since 2015, but in 2020, a lot of people, after the murders of Rayshard Brooks and Ahmaud Arbery, and that those people were here in Georgia, but George Floyd and all around the country, people were in the streets, and there was this movement to defund the police, which didn't necessarily mean abolishing all police, but it meant for decades, we've actually been defunding all of these other departments in favor of the police. But we never talk about how we've defunded social services, we've defunded WIC, we defunded schools, we've defunded after-school programs. And so when people were talking about defunding the police, they were actually just talking about redirecting that funding back to community organizations that could prevent delinquency and crime before people went down that road. And suddenly, in so many cities, the crime rate began to shoot up. We started to hear, I don't know if this happened in DC, I know it happened in New York, I know it happened in Atlanta, and it happened in
Certainly happened here. Certainly happened here.
People started, we started hearing, oh, police were, the morale of police was an issue. There were these blue flus where police were like calling out of work, and it was almost like they were letting, it's not almost like they were letting our cities become more dangerous places so that their budgets wouldn't get cut. To me, that makes that institution no different than the mob, right? Like that's what the mob does. Pay us this money and you'll be saved. If you can't make the payments, suddenly you're going to start having all of these problems. And so I just want people to remember that that's what was happening. And so one of the first things that I would do as mayor is start us as the spokesperson for the city. I would start us having a courageous conversation about how do we invest in our young people before they get into trouble. In our city, the majority of our crime is being committed by juveniles and gang affiliated juveniles. And so like, how do we catch those young people before the gangs catch them? The second piece is that we know a lot of these young people are committing these crimes because they either need or just want money. And the south side of Fulton County is like the south side of DC, it's like the south side of LA or the South Bronx, anywhere. There's not a lot of good jobs. Maybe the best job you can get is a warehouse job, if you can get that. And we need to be creating job opportunities for young people that have like real career pathways to make real money to compete with the streets who are saying, well, McDonald's only wants to pay you $7 or $12 an hour, but we can give you, $1,000 a week if you do this. And there are high-tech careers, there's STEM careers, robotics, coding, things like that, that manufacturing that we could be doing in our city. And so I want to see us redirect our finances and our tax dollars into creating jobs and opportunities for all people, but particularly for our young.
Certainly. And so for any of the viewers watching this, what is it about you that makes you the best choice for this seat? What makes you the best choice for Mayor of South Fulton?
Well, I'm a unique candidate in that I was actually born and raised in the city. South Fulton is my hometown. I live probably about 5 blocks. They're not really blocks. We're not in the city. It's a subdivision, right? But I live less than half a mile from the house I grew up in. I live across the street from the school that I went to elementary school in. And so I have a real connection, right, to the people. The second thing is that our city was created from scratch. So when our city was formed on May 1st, 2017, we only had one city employee whom we had hired maybe the week before.
Wow.
That was the city clerk, because we had to have someone record our swearing in. We now have over 500 employees and multiple departments. Other than the current mayor, I am the only candidate for mayor who has been here since the beginning through all of those changes. And then last, I am the youngest person running for mayor. And so with all due respect to the other candidates, the youngest candidate is over 65. So there are 3 other people running in this race. They're all over 65. And we need leaders, all of our leaders, and I'm sure you see this in your city and in other cities. You have folks that have been on your city council or in your state house for 30 years. And it's time to pass the baton. Millennials and Gen Z are living lives different, right? Like we want to live in live, work, play communities. We want to use shared transit. We're doing things like Airbnbs. We're working from home, we're telecommuting, and we have different ideas about policing and how to spend city budgets and what we should be focused on. And you can't build a city for the future if both your feet are in the past. And I think that I'm actually a little older than I look. I'm 45 next month. So, you know, I've got a foot. I am
good genes.
Thank you. I am from the generation, I can remember cassette players and CDs, right? Like I can remember a time before the internet. I went to high school when I was in high school, there was no email, right? But I am also young enough to be on TikTok and Instagram, and I still go out to the clubs. I'm still in the community. So I think that I can be a bridge between the generations to really envision a future for our city that both honors the people that came before that are still here, and also plans for the people who are coming now.
Certainly. Well, when does voting begin there?
When our elections start?
Yeah.
We have 3 weeks of early voting here in Georgia. So early voting will actually begin in about 18 days. And the election is on November 2nd. So we just got a little bit over a month before election day. People can they can go to KHALIDcares.com and find all of this information, as well as like where and how to vote, where to donate if you want to volunteer for the campaign. You don't have to be in the city of South Fulton. You can actually sign up and make phone calls. You can go to KHALIDcares.com/volunteer and make phone calls. You can come down and knock on doors. There's so many ways to get involved in this race.
Certainly. And do you also have social media that they can follow if they need to?
Absolutely. As I said, I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. I don't really do Snapchat too much. I feel like it was a flash in the pan.
It was certainly. I agree. I haven't been on Snapchat in years.
Right. I check it every now and again, but I'm always on the gram. I'm always on TikTok. I'm always on Facebook and Twitter, all at KHALID Cares or KHALID Cares USA.
Certainly. And to our viewers, if you want to check that out, the links will be in the description of this video. And if you want to make sure that you are registered to vote, you can text Team Racing to 40649. Once again, that is 40649. Check your status and register to vote. Make sure you get that before early voting begins. Councilman KHALID, thank you so much for joining me today. It has certainly been a pleasure, and I wish you the best of luck on your campaign as it continues.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to come back and interview in a few months as mayor. South Fulton.
Certainly. Yes, I love that. Certainly. And we will see you then. Thank you so much. And to our viewers, as always, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.